Okay, in this tutorial I'm going to do a quick run through on covering pretty much a little bit of what I do or how I do what I do. Essentially, my products are drawn from my sketchbook, or I take pictures, photographs of them, and edit them in Photoshop to the way that I want them, and then bring them into Illustrator and use those as a template for Illustrator to create the final product. Now, this is a combination of the previous videos when I covered a little bit on Pathfinder doing the broken text and then just covering the layers. Now for my template, I'm changing the layer name, the layer 1 name, to background because that's what it will be. Now you can import images, TIFFs, things like that, generally done in Photoshop or any other program, or just ones that you find, into Illustrator, typically as they are, by going to File, Place, and that will bring up your open box. You select what you want, you bring it in. However, I usually just leave the settings as is because I'm just using this as a template anyways. When you have it imported, you can it obviously, what it does is it centers it with your artboard. So if you want it however manipulated, you actually have to go in there and tweak it the way you want it. And then afterwards, when everything is set and done, for me, this is how I do it. When everything is set the way I want it, then I'll go in here and go to my colors palette, and under transparency, change the transparency down to 50%. Now with everything the way I want it, and it's all complete and tweaked and adjusted, then I'll go in here and lock that layer. This way I can do all the work necessary without touching that layer. And from there I create my second layer, which is the first layer of my actual product that I'm going to be working on. And go ahead and zoom in to where I see everything I need to see. Select my pen tool, change my fill to nothing, keep my stroke at whatever color I would like to be using. Make sure I'm on the right layer, and then I'll begin using the pen tool, manipulating it around. This is actually the leg of a turtle that I drew up for a custom decal. Okay, sometimes the pen tool gets a little tricky to use. Sometimes it gets a little tight depending on what the product is, how you try to manipulate it. But all in all, it just takes a lot of practice, takes some time to get used to it and get a feel for it, to figure out how it's going to respond and what angles it's going to torque the line at, and things like that. Once you get the hang of it, it begins to smooth itself out and becomes a pretty powerful tool to use. I have the outline path is closed. My layer is showing the one path that I just created, and now I need to create these circles here for the side of the leg. Now here's the thing, when you copy and paste in Illustrator, if I go ahead and copy and just straight paste, it actually moves the object basically to the center of my screen. Now I actually want the object to paste right on top of what I'm copying from my source. Okay, to do that, I need to paste in front or paste in back, and that'll determine whether it pastes at the top of the layer or at the bottom of the layer. This time I paste it in front. In this case, it really has no effect with the work, this particular piece that I'm working on, where it sits on in the hierarchy. Now, once I get everything where I want it, my IME is still messing up. Once I get everything where I want it, I will go ahead and duplicate this layer before I start using my Pathfinder in case something happens and I want to go back to the beginning. So I just collapsed that layer, selected it, dragged it down to the create new layer, and it duplicates everything in that layer. From here, I will lock my original layer and turn the visibility off. Then I'll select my layer that I want to work from and continue my work. Now, the first thing I'm doing is deleting or cookie cutting the inner circles with the leg, or against the leg. So I'll go in there. Remember, every time that you use the Pathfinders, you need to ungroup if you want to edit further. So I ungroup and delete the parts that I do not want. Now select the outer circles, select the leg again, and do another divide, and object, and ungroup. And from here, I will delete the parts that I do not want. Now, once this is complete, oops, I want that. Once this is complete, I can select the whole thing and go in here under Shapes mode and select Add to Shape Area. Then expand it. This now is one piece, or recognized as one piece. And when I bring this into the program that I use to create the decals, it will recognize this as one piece instead of sections. To preview my work, I simply select the fill and remove the stroke. Then I'll turn off the back layer, and I can preview my work and make sure that it's acceptable in the way I want it.